gracious invitation to speak on an icon of popular music, the entertainer, the songwriter, who happens to be my late husband, Gregory Isaacs. Gregory Isaacs was a unique artist in every sense of that word. From his voice, to his sense of style, to his songwriting skills, and also his fantastic humor. I want to look at Gregory Isaacs through the following lens: his voice and his songwriting and comedic skills. Through this, we can assess his contribution to popular culture and the Black experience. His voice can never be compared with any other singer. His voice was his and his alone. It was unmistakable as it was powerful. Whilst his vocals were not powerful in the usual sense, his voice had the power to captivate without having to oversing or sing very loudly. From love songs to social commentary to protest, Gregory had the power to make it work. Songs like Slave Driver, Storm, One Man Against the World, Our Drugs are all examples of his ability to create great songs of resistance.
Gregory Isaacs, the son of Enid Murray and Lester Isaacs, remains an enigmatic figure over a decade after his death. As defiant as he was debonair, Isaacs openly admitted to drug addiction to the press in the 1980s, at a time when such a revelation could be detrimental to one's career. In a 1988 interview, Gregory lamented the long slide into addiction that destroyed friendships, compromised his Rastafarian ideals, complicated his love life, damaged his family bonds, and eventually even almost destroyed his musical gift. It's the greatest college I've been to. The cocaine high school, but also the most expensive school fees that I've ever paid. I learnt a lot from it, both good and bad. I wouldn't encourage anybody to try it. I used to fight against it, cocaine too. But them times I couldn't afford it. I used to say them people a fool fee touch them things. Once the hits started flowing, Isaacs, born in the grimy neighborhood of Fletcher's Land, downtown Kingston, found himself in the fast lane, hobnobbing with rich and famous characters. Soon, drug use consumed his every waking moment. He told journalist Sergio that his first foray into drug abuse was very nice but dangerous. June recalled how the cool ruler battled his demons, without success, as she witnessed the carnage of a crack cocaine addiction firsthand. At times, the white lady was his wife, and she felt like a spurned mistress. He had a lot of new friends, a new lifestyle. And I noticed that a lot of money was disappearing. I was managing the African Museum, his record store, established with his friend Errol Dunkley, and some mornings I would notice that large sums of money was being taken, and it was by him. The cocaine addiction made for a hellish lifestyle, replete with manic episodes, crippling insomnia, and drug-fueled confrontations. When confronted, he would get mad. The mood swings were many, and on many occasions, I had to just leave. But with 10 kids at home, I still had to run back to them, and he wouldn't sleep at all. June tried to put her foot down and force him out of a life of addiction with a combination of tough love and gentle coaxing. Once when he went on tour, I split the house in two and tell him to stay on one side. He wasn't having it. No one slept that night. I was serious, couldn't bear no more. I stood my grounds. Mrs. Isaacs shared that, as time passed, the situation would improve because of the love they shared. and she would go on tours with her husband overseas. However, as the addiction held sway, June was his night nurse. Many music lovers believe that the song Night Nurse was about drugs, but Isaacs himself admitted that it instead pays homage to the constancy of a man's woman, who responds like Mary Seacole in the Crimean War as his angel, popping up in the time of his greatest need, his darkest hour, and in the cold reaches of the night, to become his night nurse when you feel sick, you belly a hurt, or you have a headache. In the night, the first person you call for is you woman. Mrs. Isaacs suffered tremendously for her Florence Nightingale. Act as the singer's crack cocaine addiction was no ordinary opponent. I went to jail on numerous occasions. Just owning the stuff so he could travel. He was the breadwinner after all. I don't think he loved the drugs more than me. The drug was overpowering to the extent he just had no control. His night nurse said in an interview. She said that the cool ruler loved the Sly and Robbie and Simply Red cover version of his famous hit song, which reached number 13 on the UK singles chart in 1997. Night Nurse, the title track from Isaacs' 1982 album, was recently certified silver in the UK after it sold over 200,000 units in the country. The 8-track Night Nurse album itself was certified silver in September 2021 after it surpassed 60,000 units in the UK. The love that Gregory and June Isaacs shared remained until the end, even though romantically they had parted ways. We didn't talk for a while, but the love we had for each other was always there. He made sure I was all right at all time. I would go to my regular gas station, and they would say, "Gregory Sefe, fill up your tank," and I could go on with more stories. No one could say anything about me, or he would be mad. My love for him is everlasting. We were friends to the end. It was meant to be. In the end, I was sorry for him. By 2007, he had reportedly lost his teeth due to crack cocaine addiction. In later years, the cool ruler's voice, known for its quavering, wounded timbre, lost much of its sweetness because of the addiction. With treatment, Isaacs appeared to fight his way back triumphantly, and with orthodontically repaired teeth, showed the world that the ruler had returned with the appropriately titled Brand New Me, a marvelous abuse-free set released in 2008. Still, there was a cruel twist in the tale to Gregory Isaacs' story, and he was later diagnosed with lung cancer, which spread and ultimately took his life. He died at his home in London on October 25, 2010, at the age of 59. Isaacs suffered from crippling insomnia that robbed him of much-needed rest. The lung cancer spread, and the insomnia got worse. But being the stoic man that he was, Isaacs never informed his closest companion, his night nurse, that the cancer's tentacles had spread all over his body. He had cancer, but he didn't tell me. He was suffering in a lot of pain. He would call every night for long talks, until I hear him snoring. He visited me before he left for London, where he transitioned, telling me that he was going to London to do surgery, and he would be okay. He never mentioned cancer, but based on his conversation, he knew he was not coming back. That was the last time June would ever see her beloved Gregory. A week later, he called to say he wasn't going to do surgery again, and he was okay. But that was when the doctor told him it wasn't necessary as the cancer had spread. That was the last time I spoke to him.